We're back at it again. We're gonna do some more clean the fridge, leftover using magic that's yummy and I don't know, good for you too. So we're gonna make a really nice version of Mexican veggie rice bowl. Super satisfying, super easy, takes 5 minutes just to warm things up in a pan. So I've got my cast iron pan. I've kind of got it warmed up and I've just added a little bit of ghee and a little bit of water. And then I'll just kind of let it kind of warm a bit. And the reason why I do this is because I'm just gonna kind of warm everything up here all in layers in one pan. And the ghee will kind of keep things from sticking and the water keeps things from drying out. So you just put your pan on, a little bit of ghee, a little bit of water. Once it's warm, I think you can start to see the kind of heat coming off. I have some leftover rice. It has peas in it. I understand peas are not the state veggie of Mexico. But it's what I got. And we used it for some Indian we had the other night. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add all the rice into the bottom. And remember our yummy, spicy, flavorful roasted sweet potatoes. I'm also going to add a bunch of that. I'm going to stir these together. That water, that hot pan, and that ghee will keep this from sticking too much. Although if it starts to toast a little bit, that's okay. I've got my pan here on maybe medium-low heat. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to add just a bit of salt because the rice wasn't flavored. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper. Okay. I'm going to turn the heat down. You can start to hear that going. And I'm going to add spinach. I'm going to add all of it. I'd add as much as you can because it just melts away. And it's a really super simple, kind of fun way to just wilt the spinach. The spinach has already been cleaned, or you can just give it a clean. And then on the spinach, I'm going to add lime. And that, the lime actually really helps to draw the acid of the lime helps to draw the iron out of the spinach. But it's also going to add a little bit of a liquid here that's going to help this spinach to wilt. I'm going to add this whole half lime in. And then all I'm going to do is cover it. The nice thing about the cast iron is it really holds the heat well. So I'll just keep this on a low heat and we're going to warm up the rest of this while this just warms through and the spinach wilts. So in our other pan, I'm going to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to just add a little bit of ghee. Just it helps to also season the pan. Always just gives us that really good, healthy fat, which is absolutely important for nourishing the nervous system, the mind, the cerebral spinal fluid. And then I'm going to just take our leftover beans and cabbage. And I'm going to put those in here. So because I've used purple cabbage, which is now kind of turned this really super interesting color blue, this is why I'm warming these up in 2 separate pans. If I had used regular cabbage or there wasn't cabbage or beets or something in here, that's going to turn my rice pink or blue. I don't like it. I can't stomach it. So that's why I've got 2 different pans. So I'm just going to warm up my beans and cabbage. Give that a bit of a toss. Medium-low heat, maybe a bit more. I'm going to feed 4 people with this. And then all we want to do is heat this through too. So pretty simple. I'm just going to pop a lid on there. Okay, so while we're waiting for this for 1 second, why don't you come on over here and let me show you something new that's going on in this cupboard. When I pulled all my cast iron pans out, I had to find a place to put them, and they're a bit heavy. So we just ordered these from Walmart, and Yogesh put them in like 25 minutes. They just attach to the bottom, and he put a little shelf here, and they carry 40 pounds. And so all my cast iron just sits here right beside the stove. This cupboard before was just chock-a-block full of like plastic containers that would always, you'd open the door and they'd all fall out. So this has also made the using of the cast iron really quite practical for us.
Yeah, because it's right next to your stove.
Yeah.
They're heavy. So
they are heavy, and to kind of
far.
have to get down. So now I can just roll them out and then they just fit in there perfectly. So super happy about that. So just a little bit of prep here for the rest of our bowl. So we've got, this avocado is like perfect smushiness. And these are going to be some of the garnishes here for our Mexican veggie rice bowl. So what I'm going to do with the avocado is I'm just going to, don't use a pointy knife and be gentle. And I'm just going to cut through, but not all the way. I'm going to cut through the avocado, but not through the peel. Nice, narrow, little strokes here. All the same distance apart on that one. Okay, this is a nice way to do this. Keep your avocado down, put your knife in, rotate. And there's less chance of losing a thumb, which we don't recommend. Going to do the same with this side. And then the one other thing we'll do is we're just going to squeeze. This will help keep this from browning before we put them on. But there is something really lovely about the creamy yumminess of an avocado and the tang of lime. And that's the rest of that lime. Okay, so let's see how these guys are all doing. Here's my little tongs. Here we go. Okay, so I'm just going to stir these. These are getting nice and warm. That's that. Simple.
They smell awesome.
Yeah. And the last thing we'll do is just a fresh squeeze of lime on top of that too to just brighten it up. And let's check and see what's going on in this one. So everything's getting pretty nice and warm down there. The spinach is starting to kind of wilt a little bit in the bottom. I'll just give it that nice little toss. Put the lid back on nice and quick. And maybe slightly turn the heat up there. Okay. One other thing as part of our prep is I'm going to put some nice cheese on this. So I love going to the farmers markets, and we really are at a place now where it doesn't matter what time of year it is. I think in most communities you're going to be able to find someone who's making something. You may have to find them on the internet, you may have to ask around, but even in the winter we can find at our local markets people who are making fresh local cheeses. So this is a sheep fresco, which is just kind of a soft cheese. And I'm just going to cut it into squares. It's kind of like maybe a cross between a mozzarella and a bit of a feta. I love just playing around with these kind of fresh local cheeses, and they just make them based on kind of the whim or the creative nature of the cheesemaker. And they always just taste so lovely. So these little squares are going to be this nice kind of creamy delight in our veggie rice bowl. So that is that. The one other thing we're going to use for our garnish is little secret here. So this is just a squirt bottle. And I have added ranch dressing. You could also just use sour cream or like a creme fraiche. And I've thinned it with lime juice. So not so much lime juice that it curdles, but probably the juice, maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons of ranch or sour cream with the juice of half a lime. And that's going to thin it out a little bit, and then we're going to use this just to garnish on top. This is also something that's a great way you can garnish this on your nachos, on your tacos, anything like that. So, I think that's it. We're ready to go. I'm going to put this together. The beans are definitely hot. My spinach is just about there. So I have a lovely little bowl. And I'll start with the beans. My beans and yum. So I'm going to just let this be the bottom. You could also put half and half if you wanted, or lots of different ways you could set this up, but I'm going to play around with this. A nice little layer of beans and cabbage on the bottom, and I'm just going to brighten that up with just a little bit more squeeze of lime. And then, awesome. So you can see our, perfect. Oh, so good. The rice is not burnt. It's just starting to kind of toast a little bit. Our greens have wilted. Everything's warmed. I'm just trying to find it. And I'm just going to take some of this and just going to spoon this on top. Oh my God, look at that. So I'm going to take about 1/4 of it. Serve for 4 people. Got that on top of our beans. A couple different things. So got my avocado. I'm going to just scoop out half of that avocado because I'm going to do 4 servings here. And I'm just going to kind of fan it like this along the top. So we just take that half of that avocado and we're just going to kind of fan it along the top. I'm going to take a little bit of the squares of cheese and I'm also going to just sprinkle those along the top. Oh my gosh, so excited. And then I'm going to take our little, this is a real kind of tangy, tart lime ranch, and I'm just going to squeeze this along the top. And you just want to make sure they don't have any little bits in there. Yeah, good. Kind of like a dressing. There we go. If you had any fresh herbs or cilantro, you could put that on. A whole bunch of different things. But this just shows you another way we can take these basic, simple leftovers and make something really satisfying. I'm sure you could easily put this in a container and take it for work, or any of the kids could pretty much put it together as well. So try it. Let us know what you think. Let us know about your versions. And, just enjoy being creative in your kitchen.